season, and really what we tried doing a year ago, and was highly successful, was use our fall season to recruit toward the fall and then use that as a tryout for the summer season. And again, we were revolutionary in creating a summer season that started in January. And people think it's kind of awkward, so like a lot of things, we actually have to train our players and train our parents to get used to the concept of starting in January. And so like, wait, January's not the summer, that's the winter. We say that's true, but you need to play in January so that you are fresh and have your A game going into high school. That way you give yourself the best odds of making whatever team you profile for. Also, what happens sometimes in high school is you're not always, your arm's not all the way developed, and you figure that you're not going to have to pitch a lot until like a month into the season, but you have like a really tough game in the first game of the year, and you're not ready, and coach tries to push you, and then you end up hurting your arm, and then a lot of things go south from there. So we thought we can give you the best opportunity preparing for high school. We can become highly organized, get our teams together, start with team chemistry, and do what other teams do in June, in the beginning of the summer, we do in January. So that by the time June comes, you guys are thrilled to get back on the field together. It's very organized, uniforms are done, you understand the methodology of the program and your particular coach, and we have a very successful summer. Also in January, we have an MLK Showcase, which we started a couple of years ago. We started doing it at the University of San Francisco. We did it at Cal State East Bay last year. And what that is, it actually becomes the last time that you get seen before the high school season. And the last time that college recruiters see you before their college season. That you go off and play high school, they go off and play college. There's not a lot of time for interaction. So we thought, okay, this is a great one-day event that's an invitational that we invite a small portion of players with a super high concentration of talent, so recruiters don't have to sift very far to see the talent. Every pitcher out there has a really good arm and a secondary pitch. And every hitter out there profiles for college. And it's a small group instead of the type of showcase where it's a couple days and expansive on many different fields. So that's another reason we thought we need to train our families and our players to really take January seriously, and then obviously prep for high school, and then go into the summer full speed. So again, thank you guys for coming. I might pause several different times to make sure I capture a point so that it's edited. So if you look, it looks kind of unnatural, it's because there's certain things I want to make sure that the camera is going to catch that people at home are going to need to see. So, by the way, I teach physical education in high school, so I don't get to do things like use a laser or PowerPoint, which I'm not doing today. So this is my chance to feel like a real teacher. Okay? So I get to refer to a board and use a laser and talk to an audience, which I like doing a lot more than PE actually. So, first of all, I welcome you guys to the partnership, which is number 2. This is really exciting. I don't think, does anybody know what I'm going to say? Okay, because we've shared a couple of things about the partnership to a couple different people. Really, it is, in the equivalent, I've written an email, it hasn't gone public yet, so this is the first time that we're talking about it. In the email, I allude to partnerships like Nike and Jordan, because I'm trying to give people a sense of what this relationship is that we're going to form. So like Nike and Jordan, 2 highly successful brands that are actually together, but it doesn't quite tell the right picture. Another one is Boardwalk and Park Place. So on the Monopoly board, of course, Boardwalk is the best property you can get. The second best is Park Place. You put them together and you create the empire that on the Monopoly board. But that doesn't quite tell the story. I think the best one is Starbucks and Safeway. So Starbucks moving inside Safeway is genius for Safeway and also genius for Starbucks, because you get the Starbucks clients that come into Safeway and Safeway clients that walk by Starbucks, and they both have their own identity and their own businesses, but together it creates something that nobody else has. So in the same way, we're on Commerce Circle on this side of the street, TPC, which is run by Jason Sakani. We've been there 10 years. On the other side of the street, on Commerce Circle, they are #1 and absolute tops in training, strength and conditioning, a lot of different things that they do at TPC, power hitting, power throwing, and we're big advocates of everything that they do. And we have a great relationship with Jason, and we like to consider ourselves second to none in the field of development and exposure and travel baseball. We have teams ranging from and I'll explain this in a minute when I talk about our system, ranging from very young to 2 different collegiate teams. And we're the only ones that cover this span of travel baseball. So what we've done is we're collaborating and creating a partnership with Jason and TPC, and we're moving out of this building, and Jason's moving out of his building, which is across the street, and we're both going to occupy Bounce U, which is across the street. It's 2 down from us and across the street from them, so which is a 10,000 square foot facility where there's construction and all kinds of things being done right now, and this is going to happen in the very immediate future. And the capabilities for what we can do in there won't be anything like it in Northern California. And the combination of training and all the classes that they do, all the teams and the training and everything we do, along with there's going to be a weight room that's in there, and there's going to be all kinds of stuff. It's a very exciting concept for you guys being part of the organization already, as well as the greater baseball community, even though they're not aware of how important this is going to be for this area. So that's a very important partnership. Now, of course, part of that partnership is that we bring 300 to 500 different players through Jason's doors, and he also brings tons of talented players who aspire to be better at baseball and play collegiate baseball through his doors. And it would be very natural for a lot of our guys to train with him, and very natural for a lot of his players to play with us. So the evolution of that is going to be really exciting as far as talent goes, as far as really having committed baseball players in the program. So a little bit about recruiting, because you guys are the sophomore class, and the class of 2015 grads, and it seems like it's real far away. At the same time, it's going to happen real quick. And a couple things. My son we had my son's 2nd birthday party yesterday. His 2nd birthday is on Thanksgiving. It looks like he's a lefty. He definitely hits lefty. I think he throws lefty. My brother Michael bought him a glove that goes on this hand, so it's kind of weird seeing that in the family because we've never seen that before. And someday, hopefully he likes baseball. He's got a lot of opportunity to train at the GPC Headfirst Center, a couple doors down. And if he's good enough to play high school baseball and wants to play in college, and he will have no choice but to get good grades, so I don't know about baseball, he's going to be a good student. And if he wants to play beyond high school, in reality, most people, when you ask them, or when they think about it, they think, where I want to go to college is, well, I'm thinking maybe Arizona State, if not there, then Arizona, maybe Florida State. Or it's maybe UCLA, Stanford, or maybe Berkeley, or Sac State. And as they grow and get a little older, it's, okay, you know what, I love Cal Poly, because I've been there, and San Diego State. I know that they had a dynamite program a couple of years ago. What's happening, and there's nothing wrong with it, it's like the average college student aspiring and saying, you know what, when I grow up, I'm going to be a billionaire. Or maybe $1 million. I'm going to start off making $1 million probably. Just maybe bring $1 million home after taxes in my first year out of college. It's just highly unrealistic, statistically. It happens. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes somebody goes to UCLA, straight out of high school. Somebody goes to Florida State. Not people from California usually. So there's a lot of math that goes into the recruiting process. The reality statistically for my son Jackson, if he likes baseball, if he ends up good enough to make the high school team and wants to play beyond, the first question is, which JC is the right fit? People don't like thinking that, because they're like, oh, I want to shoot for the stars, I want to go to the best school in the world. The question is, statistically, most guys after high school will go to a junior college to pursue their baseball career at the JC level, and then they may be blessed with talent and connections and opportunity and all that to go to the 4-year level. So the first question becomes, which JC? The second question becomes, which D2 or D3 or NAIA, but probably which D2. So instead of starting at the top schools in the world, it's kind of saying, okay, what's realistic? I'm going to start here. Okay, I profile there. Yeah, there's players like me at this level too. Then you look at which D1, but you're probably not looking at the highest level D1, but you're probably looking at the lower D1s, and then the mid-range D1s, and then the top end D1s. In a lot of ways, you know in the top D1s, you know if you're that type of player because they've already pursued you and offered you a scholarship probably at this age. And that's the reality nowadays, is this stuff's going earlier and earlier. Maybe you guys are a little young for that, but within the next year, like some guys that are seniors that say, man, I don't know if I really fit for Arizona State and Stanford and some of the UCLA and some of the top schools in the world. And I said, well, have they contacted you or are they pursuing you? No, no, but I think I can play there. And I'm thinking in my mind, I don't want to break it to you, but no, like you're gonna go to not to the top D1, and probably not the mid-range D1. You're going to a JC. And the reality is that at JC, the number of guys who go to D1 on scholarship out of a junior college is very low, and most of them are guys that started off at a D1 and didn't work out, so they went to a JC, and then they went back to a D1. So the math of it is, I just want to encourage you guys and train you guys based on what's real, and also setting and also working toward your dreams from a young age, because then at least you have information, and then you can work toward it. The reality is, number one, what JC am I going to go to? For us, we have a great relationship with Chabot College. Steve Friend there and their staff, we think they're amazing. They're very cutthroat, old school baseball. We use Chabot as one of our home fields. At the Division II level, Cal State East Bay, right up the hills, Coach Ralston, Coach Norfolk, and a lot of guys there do a great job. A lot of our players have gone there so far. Obviously, at Division I level, and we understand for you guys, your dream is probably to be a Division I baseball player. So we want to cultivate that in our system, help you develop, put you with coaches that know how to get you to that level to be that baseball player because they've done it. They've either been there and or they've pushed players up to that level. And then for us to have the connections to put you in front of those schools so that your dreams come true. But we want to just manage all of it because a lot of people, they want the high D1 on scholarship, put all their eggs in that basket, spend a ton of money, time, energy, and everything else there, and then are disappointed when that didn't work out. And then they're disappointed with the next step, disappointed. So it's all just negative. And it doesn't create a situation where they're going to get any of their dreams met because they're just functioning based on negativity rather than positivity and work their way up. They're assuming that they're getting demoted the whole way. So I just want to talk about that with recruiting. By the way, with recruiting, and I'm going to talk about this with the Berkovich group, we have a lot of guys who are committed already and more that will be committed before high school starts. For me, I'm really encouraged by that and encouraged by a lot of our players who are going to commit or going to play college. A lot of them, even the players that it's going to work out for them, right now, and I tell you this because in 2 years, a lot of you guys are going to be in this situation, they're frantic right now and they're panicking because they're not committed to college. The reality is some schools have committed some players, but the majority of the recruiting is going to happen in the spring. And some schools haven't even started with their senior class because they don't want to get in the rat race of pursuing all these guys and throwing money around early for a guy who is getting attention from everybody and may end up signing professionally anyways. So some people kind of say, okay, we're going to let the dust settle on all that, and then we're going to start our recruiting process. So they're just gathering information, but not really getting it out to people yet. So the point that I'm telling you is there's all kinds of different recruiting stuff that goes on, and this becomes a whole, in our high school division, which is called the Gamers, we're going to talk a lot about recruiting because we assume that you're going to be in this organization because you want good coaching, you want to become a better baseball player, you want to be around good baseball players with a highly organized schedule, and being a part of a system that's going to put you in front of people so that you can play baseball beyond high school. And we make that assumption. It's mostly true. Sometimes it's not, and if it's not, we probably should talk because the angles that we're preparing things is with that in mind. The next thing is the websites that we have. So, and this ties into the systems. The systems and websites really are going to go together. We had one website, which was headfirstacademy.com. Then we created a new concept, which was originally the League All-Star game, which is called the All-Star Showdown, which some of you guys played in, and a lot of you guys will end up playing in it. That's going to evolve next year into a type of area code system of where is the best baseball, the 510 or the 925, right? So that's the question. The only way to settle it is put the best of both against each other at each grade level, and then play it on both sides of the hill. It'll be a battle over the hill that'll evolve into having the 408 and the 650 and the 415 and other area codes. And so that's going to be the concept moving forward that we're going to go into. So the second website we have is allstarshowdown.net. It's also a tribute to our father, Mario Iglesias Sr., who passed away 2 years ago, because he loved high school baseball. And he made it magical for us to play. And he's a big reason that we do all of what we do. And for him, he was at everything we ever did. So when he got to interact with a lot of our players, it was like he cared for those players and the whole system of things as much as he did. Maybe not as much as we were playing, but he really cared about it. So we thought we're going to create this as a tribute to him. So that was our second website. Then it started to become too much. So now what we have is, or what we're going to have and launch in probably about a week, is there's BerkovichFoundation.com. That's for the Berkovich division of things, which I'll explain in a moment. There's going to be TriValleyGamers.com. There's going to be HFFarm.com. That's for our farm division. There's AllStarShowdown.net. And then there's also HeadfirstAcademy.com. So there's actually going to be 5 different websites that are all affiliated with what we do. So instead of having one website with tons of stuff, it's like the Berkovich people can just go to Berkovich. They can check out the other ones, but they know it's kind of itemized where they want to go. For gamers folks, they can just go to gamers and so forth. So the way we're going to break it down also is that the farm division of Headfirst is going to be for pre-high school players. And the farm players are going to aspire to be in the gamers program. And the gamers program is going to be for high schoolers. After that, the gamers program are going to aspire to be Berkovich players. We have 2 Berkovich teams. We're going to have 2 Berkovich teams each fall of seniors that evolves into 2 summer teams that we have for Berkovich. And last year on Berkovich, we sent guys to 20 different colleges. Several of them got drafted. It's a highly competitive team. The Berkovich Connie Mack team is the team that I run. And we also are going to have this, starting this summer, 2 collegiate teams. One for guys who are in year 1 and 2, and another one for guys 2 through 4. So one's a little older than the other. Both of those are in different collegiate leagues. So it's a really exciting organization. We obviously put a ton of time and energy into it. And the reason I tell you is a lot of people, they really don't know they're a part of it, but they really don't know how expansive it is. Now, along with that comes connections at every level. So it doesn't happen. Somebody can't just walk in and create all this stuff. So the amount of time and energy and connected activity we have with a lot of organizations is immense. And that's relative to you guys, because at the end of the day, it should come down to this for you guys. I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm kind of telling you what to think. Question number 1, can you make my kid better? So, will my kid get better playing for you? And number 2 is, this is aside from being a role model, putting him around other good guys and all the rest. Number 2 is, after you make him better, can you put him in front of schools and advocate for him? Other than that, there's not a whole lot anybody can do. They can make them better, develop them, perfect. Can they put them in front of schools? And by the way, playing against competition and doing all the other things, that's part of making them better. So it falls under making them better, or it falls under putting them in front of you. And if you have both of those, and you like the people involved, and at the end of the day, you're going to trust somebody. So it comes down to who do you trust? Who has the intelligence, the connections, the desire, the work ethic, and all the rest to be able to help my son get to where he wants to go. And this is true not just in baseball, it's true in anything that you guys are doing. So I talked a little bit about the system. Now within the system, you guys, is this Reno thing, and no one's ever heard of this. This is a crazy concept that I actually, like I said, I teach PE, and I was talking to one of my PE teachers who's not a baseball guy at all. He did coach basketball. So we were talking about, man, there's this venue in Reno. Has anybody seen the Reno Aces Stadium?
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous place to play. And I have a connection of a guy who used to play Berkovich, who actually has been in with the Reno Aces since before they even came to Reno. Because he played in the big leagues with that organization. So before they came to Reno, he was there since before day 1. And so I have access to the Reno Aces Stadium, and I thought, what's a great venue to have there? And I thought, move the Headfirst World Series to Reno? That'd be cool. Possibly. That actually is a really good idea, except for this time of the year in Reno is not the best time to go there, so it becomes risky to go there. And I thought, have a tournament in Reno? Possibly. And I thought, better than anything, what the West Coast, and I like the name Jamboree, just for some reason, like, oh, it's the Jamboree, it's like catching. So the West Coast Jamboree, and this is a concept, it looks real official, but there's a flyer back there, so you look at it like, oh shoot, it's going to happen. And really I have it pitched off you guys to see your input. Tell me if you want this to happen, and we're going to make it happen. What the West Coast Jamboree is, it's an elite showcase at the Reno Aces Stadium. The concept is for next fall at the Reno Aces Stadium. By the way, the AAA All-Star Game is going to be played there this year, and it's amazing. Friday night, it would be a 2-day event. Friday night at 6 p.m. you check in. At 7 o'clock, you'd be having batting practice at the Reno Aces Stadium, trying to launch the ball out under the lights, just having fun. And showcasing a lot of times is not fun at all. So I like to try to create events that would be fun. Part of it is because part of my job is for you to look good you're going to play better and look better when you're having fun and smiling, instead of when you're nervous and antsy and, you know, and just pressurized in the situation. So you're going to have batting practice under the lights, just hanging out, just live, fresh rounds of BP, not with perfect swings, with cameras on you, just trying to spin on something and launch it out, laughing and just palling around with your buddies, while shagging in the outfield and all the rest too. And then have some kind of defensive sets at night, have a guest speaker on Friday night, and then a home run derby. So people are just trying to launch it out of that stadium. So Friday night's kind of fun, and then Saturday you wake up and it's business. And Saturday is a showcase where pitchers would throw 1 inning, they face 6 hitters per inning, or they would face 6 hitters, and they would start in 0-0 count, so it's a live game situation, and hitters would then get 2 at-bats per game and play in a couple different games. So basically the exposure is at least 15 collegers or recruiters would be in attendance, and we would fly them out and we would pay them to work the event. It's something they would want to do. We would treat them extremely well, and they would get to see 48 different pitchers throw an inning and also see 72 different hitters get 4 at-bats. It would be a highly invitational event where, so you guys would go to arguably the best place there is to play on the West Coast with the best 72 plus 48, 120, with 100 or 120 of the best players on the West Coast at this event in front of recruiters. And the cost probably to make it work is like $400, or $200 for a pitcher only, $500 for both. So it's probably less than a lot of the showcases that you end up doing. So again, part of why we bring this up is we're always looking for cutting edge and for trying to be creative. In that kind of event, we think at the end of the day, ideally you play in the big leagues. But the reality is we want to give you really good experiences where that would be a fun event that you'd never forget. And a lot of it is, I look at that and I'm like, I wish I played there. Of course it wasn't around when I played. I would love to go out and take BP and try to hit some out and then play in front of recruiters and all that while going out and having fun in Reno in an inspiring environment around other talent. Okay? The MLK event, I talked about that. We do that in January. It's a showcase event. The other showcase that we do is in September. It's a West Coast College Showcase. We get about 20 recruiters. That one has about 80 players. It's more of an open event, more than an invitational. And again, the reason that I tell you guys this is because in a calendar year, the guys in our system are going to be in front of at least, and this also involves some travel that we do in the summer, travel that we do in the fall, going to be in front of at least 85 sets of eyes of recruiters, at least in a calendar year. At the end of the day, you're going to play in front of people. Whether you like it or not, there's going to be people watching. So your game has to be on. You have to look right in uniform, you have to act right, you have to hustle right, you have to play right, you have to physically, you have to look the part. All of that, you are going to be in front of people. So at the end of the day, you might say, I wasn't good enough, but you definitely won't say, Mom and Dad didn't give me a chance. But you're going to have every chance to shine. And at the end of the day, you say, it just didn't work out for me. But not, if I just had this or this, it would have been different. They're going to give you every opportunity. And that's part of it for us, is that we have to give you every opportunity, and we take it very seriously. So the part you guys all came for is the team information. And the team information, number 6 up here, is a little different. There's 2 different groups that we have here at the same time. And I'm going to address both of them. For Gamers 32, there's Gamers 32 and what we're calling Gamers 16 right now. Gamers 32 is most likely going to be coached by, well, Gamers 32 is run by Coach Bungars and Coach Castro. And people say, what's up with the numbers? Like, are they 32 years old? Or like, why 32? They're confused by it. And the reason is, it relates to the manager's uniform number. So another one, Mike Barakat is most likely going to run Gamers 16, which is our other 2015 team. And he happens to be number 16. Correct, right, Mike? So people say, oh, that makes sense. Gamers 16, they're mostly 16 years old. And Gamers 32, what's that? Is that 16 times 2? Is it? So people don't really get it. It's just a uniform number. And sometimes it happens to line up with their age group. Most of the times, obviously, it doesn't. The 2 different teams are going to play 2 different schedules and have 2 different goals. So I'm going to start backwards and talk about the goals. Gamers 32 is going to, their goal, well, they have 2 goals. One is to play in the World Scout League final, It's the Final Four, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. And this is new cutting edge stuff. Nobody really knows it, and part of it is because I'm on the executive board in Northern California that's helping to create it. So this is not finalized, but it's most likely going to happen the way that I tell you. It's going to be really exciting stuff, the World Scout League. And the other thing for Gamers 32 is to get to the Mickey Mantle World Series, which is in McKinney, Texas. And for the Gamers 16, the goal is to go to the Mickey Mantle World Series as well. And to get there, you have to get to the Mickey Mantle Regional, which is in Southern California. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. The league that Gamers 32 will be in is the World Scout League at the 16U level, and also the Don Mattingly division. Don Mattingly now is an 18-year-old league, which changed. It was a 17-year-old league. By the way, there's an organization called AABC. The 18-year-old division is Connie Mack. The 17 was Don Mattingly. Now that's an 18-year-old division too. And Mickey Mantle is the 16U component of that. And it's where a lot of the top organizations play, the top players play nationally. The Gamers 16 team will be in the Mickey Mantle League, which again is the 16U division of the AABC. Both teams would play a schedule of about 40 to 50 games. Home fields include Castro Valley High School and Granada High School. Castro Valley High School are doing a lot of renovations, trying to have the same people do the infield that do it for the San Francisco Giants and redo the fields overall. There's also talk within home fields because Gamers 32 will be spread out a little bit where the players are from. So we're trying to get games in different locations that create a situation where some guys from here get to go and see what it's like playing in a school in the Sacramento area or in the Hollister area. So as we get connections to those, and we create teams that might be like a doubleheader Saturday, doubleheader Sunday in a location where it involves a night stay. So I want to tell you about that. That's probably going to be part of the equation. Either way, people are playing around 40 to 50 games. We also have access to Cal State East Bay, which is a college field, beautiful field. Chabot College is another one of our home fields, and we spread it around to different home fields too. The cost for both of the programs is the same. It's $1,500, and like Michael said, it includes January, June, and July. So we explained why we do it in January. What January looks like in general is a practice once a week, which is indoors, which will either be here or our new facility, depending on when that opens. And then we do things on weekends. It might be a practice on Saturday or Sunday. It might be games on both, or it might be a tournament. So the schedule will come out obviously ahead of time. Really what we're trying to do in January is it's the coach's time to prepare you for the summer. Because in the summer, you hit the ground rolling. Right away, you're expected to compete at a very high level. And right away, you come out 3 for 3 or throw a shutout, which you're expected to do because you need to be very good for us to have you in our program. Right away, you're at the front. You may be the least talented guy on the team, but if you have the highest results right from the get-go, coach is probably going to roll with you again. He's probably not going to bury you. By the way, at this level in our organization, everyone plays. Opportunity is going to be spread out absolutely liberally. I had a guy on the Birdfish team a couple of years ago that he hit about, and it's a compelling story, he hit about 180 and he had like 80 plate appearances. So someone could rightfully say, Mario, he shouldn't have had 80 plate appearances in 60 days if he was hitting 180. What was wrong? And I said, you know what? He showed up all the time. And he was a hard worker. And it wasn't that he was taking away from other people. He was just there. And he worked hard and played defense, and he just found roles. We need a left fielder. He's in left field. We need a second baseman. He was a second baseman, so he plays him second. He didn't have the greatest summer, but he had a very good role for himself. Was able to obtain a lot of reps and be in front of people by doing that. And a typical day in the summer for us, we try to stay off Monday and Friday. So Saturday and Sunday become highly impacted. In summer, in elite travel baseball or elite summer baseball for college prep type of teams, Saturday, Sunday are highly impacted. For us, we try to stay off Monday and Friday so you can be a real person sometimes and go out and do things that kids like to do. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, probably you're playing at least 2 of those days. It might be 1 on a certain week, it might be 3 on another week. But in general, as I schedule, I try to go Tuesday and Wednesday or Thursday, and then stay off Monday and Friday, and weekends are prime time for schedule. It doesn't always work like that. There might be a great venue that we play on Monday or on a Friday, and by the way, all the games are purposeful. And the schedule that I'm going to tell you about in a moment, it's all very purposeful, and I'm going to explain why, but I want you to just keep that in mind. It's not like we're going to get a game just to get a game, because I wouldn't play that game. I would wait for the purposeful game. And doing it this far ahead of time, and aligning with people who are also creating purposeful schedules, we end up with a very compelling schedule. So I'm going to my next sheet, and which is the final sheet here, and it is color-coded in the back. Not that the colors necessarily mean anything to you, but they do to me as I put it together. And we have, there's different terminology, like WSL, which means World Scout League. You guys can't see this, but that's okay, trust me. NEV, which is Nevada. BC, which is the Berkovich Classic. It's a tournament that we host. And by the way, when I talk about the system and different things we do, we created the Berkovich Fall Classic, Berkovich Midsummer Classic last year, expecting maybe 8 teams and inviting some recruiters out. It turned out in year 1 that it was a 16-team tournament with super high talent, very high, highly respected organizations. A lot of recruiters came out on day 1. There were about 5 D1 coaches, including the PAC head coach, that went to watch a game. And so from day 1, it was a huge success. And so the things that we do, when I do an event, I'm sending email blasts to every coach on the West Coast, and also every pro scout. So they're at least informed, and even if they couldn't go, they read the results, they read some stuff I write to them, and it's a service to them, because even if they're not there, they get a lot of the information on how players are doing. So here's your guys' schedule. And what I did, and again, this is a working schedule, but we're so far away, not everything is even, it's not even decided when a lot of these tournaments are. So some things have a question mark, but nobody really knows this stuff yet because it's still being created. Gamers 32, on May 25 and May 26, and that's this column, you have a World Scout League tournament. And we're actually hosting in your division. You're in the 16U division of the World Scout League, and you're in the 18U league for Don Mattingly. But you're also going to try to qualify for the Mickey Mantle World Series, which is 16U, but you're not going to be in the 16U league. So part of the reason for that is the high level 16U is very competitive. It's very, and for you guys, going there, it's a must win. You have to win. You got to go there, and you got to win. And you're also playing up to prepare you for bigger, stronger, faster for when you go to those 16U venues, because you're trying to go as far as you can possibly go in that group, which, according to Coach Bungars, is the expectation level of his team, and that's what he wants to do, which is perfectly fine. The World Scout League, you guys, the way this works is there's a World Scout League tournament at many different places around the country. And this is kind of the future of travel baseball. The World Scout League involves, it's a league that's played within a weekend or a couple weekends. So in that, it's not an actual tournament, but you're going to play 4 different games against, you're going to play 4 different teams in a given weekend. Then, obviously with a lot of talent out there on a given weekend, if recruiters know that there's 8 different teams out there that they get to capture in a weekend that play 4 times each, it's a pretty solid place to be. So it's a bright idea on behalf of the World Scout League, which is originating in Florida. And then what happens is we go to the regional, the West Coast Regional, which is in Arizona, in July 12th and 14th, which I'm going to talk about. That's going to have about 80 teams that are there. Okay. The same thing's going to go on in the South, on the East Coast, and in the Northwest. The single winner out of those 80 teams out of the West Coast, Arizona, Southern California, Northern California, with a lot of the top travel organizations, will go, and so there'll be a Final 4 with the winner from the South, the Northwest, the East, and the West Coast will go to an organization, to a school like LSU to battle it out somewhere in the middle of the country, and it's paid for. So a lot of the funding that it takes to put on the event in the 80-team events will cover the travel costs for the national event. So you end up having a national champion. And it's a brilliant idea, one that this is year 1, and we are in hook, line, and sinker to see this thing happen, because it's a really cool idea. And part of the great idea of it is technology. With the technology that we have now, the games have to be covered electronically with statistical devices, which is consistent in our college division too. We have certain games that we play. All the games have to be covered electronically, so the stats are sent automatically, which obviously are broken down into a billion categories. So you have national leaders and league leaders, West Coast regional leaders in different categories. So really cool stuff. Obviously all the information is being pumped out to recruiters left and right, not only by us for our organization, but by the organization on a national level. So very cool stuff. That's the World Scout League that Gamers 32 is a part of. On the 8th and 9th of June, there might be an AABC event, and again, that's the Mickey Mantle kind of stuff. There might be a qualifying tournament in Nevada. And if there is, and again, just for you guys to know, I try to be very, very aware of finances. And I try to say, how can we maximize your money? Because money can't be infinite, and there's just so much to do. So in general, as an organization, we prefer to stay local and do everything locally. Because part of the reason is how many guys from Northern California are going to end up going to school at the University of Texas or LSU or Georgia Tech, and look at the roster, not very many. In reality, statistically, you're going to go to JC, statistically. And if you break that statistic and move on to a 4-year and or Division I, statistically, you're probably going to go to school on the West Coast. Therefore, it makes more sense for you, if you want to pull some specific schools out of state, we can absolutely accommodate, we can figure that out. But as a service to you guys, based on statistics, it makes more sense for us to really target West Coast schools. That's probably where you end up going. Not all the time. But anyway, with respect to creating the schedule, I try to look at an opportunity and cut it out. And so as I do it, I don't say, oh, yes, these are all great things. I say, that opportunity, it's okay for some people, but that's not for us. That one, no, that's not what we want to do. So I'm left with a pure, very purposeful schedule. In this case, it involves some travel for the gamers, specifically for Gamers 32, Gamers 24 even more so, Berkovich not so much, Gamers 16 a little bit, and again, I'll talk to you about it. I just want to preface it by saying the purpose, we don't want to just go travel just to travel. But you can do that and not have baseball and just go have fun on vacation instead. So maybe Nevada on the 8th and 9th for AABC, for a Mickey Mantle World Series qualifier, and the Gamers 16 will be here in the Berkovich Classic. So you will be a host team, and you're going to play locally, and you're going to play at the 16 level. The next weekend, June 15 and 16, Gamers 32, this says actually the Don Mattingly qualifier. That's incorrect. You guys will be in the Mickey Mantle qualifier, which again is the 16U ABC. Gamers 16, you're in the same tournament. So you guys will both be in the same tournament, both trying to win the tournament, and the winner of that tournament actually gets a bid directly to the World Series. It's a World Series bid to McKinney, Texas. But I asked if we can forego the bid to the World Series in order to go to the regional. The reason is the World's, and I'm trying to let you guys know the process that we do things. The World Series is in McKinney, Texas. The regional, which we made the last 2 years, is in Southern California. I want you in front of Southern California recruiters, which is probably more relevant than in front of recruiters at the University of Texas. So what I asked is if we win that, which one of our teams better win that, we would prefer to go, and you guys might think, oh, we want to go to the World Series. We can win the World, we go straight to the World Series. And I say, you've won a lot of tournaments in your day, and that's great. It's fun and wonderful. My job is to try to advise you and say, last year, when our guys, or the last 2 years, our guys went to LA. I think we went 0-2 the first year, and I think we went 0-2 the second year. I'm not sure, but the talent, it's 16U baseball, but we had a closer of 90 last year, and USC called me directly and wanted information right away on him, and USC's pitching coach, and we didn't win. Teams were really good, and it's very eye-opening. When you have the kind of talent there, obviously in Southern California, in a regional of West Coast talent, for the Mickey Mantle Regional, this is the place to be. So that becomes a high goal of ours. Goal is the World Series. Even more than that, if we just went to the regional and didn't go to the World Series, probably a lot of people might be content with that, based on a lot of travel that goes on. Either way, both teams are going to the Mickey Mantle qualifier. That's here in Northern California. The JOs for the 15U and 17U level are on the next weekend in June. And it's formerly the Junior Olympics. It's USA national type of tournament, 15 and 17 in Arizona. It's a highly recruited event now, and it's gaining more steam each time. It's a really big tournament. We opted out of it a couple years because a couple years ago it wasn't as highly recruited. Now it's becoming a lot more highly recruited. Interestingly, even more so at the 15 level than at the 17 level in some cases. So we don't know if that's going to be a team event or if that's going to be more of we try out and have players who want to go, and the teams maintain their team status and just keep playing around here. We're not sure exactly how to do that yet, but I just want to let you know that. And again, truthfully, we don't even want to go to that, but we feel compelled to include it on the schedule as a service to you guys. So, but it's travel, and travel means it's going to cost. After that, the 29th and 30th of June is Los Angeles for the Firecracker Classic. So the Firecracker Classic is said to be the most highly recruited tournament on a calendar year in the nation. So again, we went last year and it was fun. And again, winning there, it also is a qualifier for AABC, so it becomes a qualifier for the Mickey Mantle Regional, which is also in LA. So extremely difficult to win that. You're at the right place at the right time. Again, part of our job, develop you guys, put you in the right place at the right time in front of people, and that's what that is. And most likely, we're going there with both teams. After that, on the 6th and 7th, it looks like every team in our organization will be at the Berkovich Classic, which this year we're planning on having an 18-team division at 2 different levels. One will be 17 and up, and one will be 16 and under. So it'll be a really big event here in Northern California, obviously including inviting a ton of recruiters. The 13th and 14th of July, Gamers 32, you're in Arizona at the World Scout League event. And that's the 80-team tournament there. Gamers 16, you're here at the Gamers Classic. If for Mickey Mantle Regional in LA, that's the 20th and 21st. If either team can make it, and it's both of your goals to get there, and then 27, 28 is not occupied. So the reason I tell you this is just to kind of show you what the schedule is, to explain it a little bit, that in an attempt not to travel much, there's some stuff that requires travel. So we may want to pick and choose a little bit, like going to the Junior Olympics and going to the Firecracker both means you're in Arizona for a week, and then right away you're in LA for a week. And then for the World Scout League, a week later you're back in Arizona for a couple days. So there ends up being a lot of travel and a lot of things that are good ideas to do, but at some point you have to be selective. And actually there's a lot of other stuff. To me, this is the pure stuff. This is the stuff that as organizations call me and say, all right, what are you guys doing? What do we need to do? And I say, look at this schedule. That's the stuff. You do one of those, you're at the right place. You do 2, even better. You do 3 or 4, you're a name out there. If you have some good performances. And again, that's part of what we need to do with you guys. So, I welcome you guys, talk about our partnership with TBC, talk about recruiting, the many websites. The most relevant for you guys is going to be TriValleyGamers.com, which is underway. There's a lot of cool stuff that we're going to end up doing with the website, so make sure you start checking that out. Also, you guys check out BerkovichFoundation.com, because that's the direction that you're trying to get to. And talk about a system, different exposure, showcase events, talk about specifics to teams. Michael, what did I miss? Do you want to come up and discuss the things that you want to talk about, including uniform, finances?
Yeah, I just have a few things. As you can tell, the amount of time, effort, hard work that goes into it. Mario and I have done this for a long time. We love what we do. We're very proud of our organization. People that have been here with us for a little while, you've seen the evolution every year. And the new people just coming in, the way it usually works is we have our meetings every week in the morning. Mario will have a new idea. I'll say no. It'll be introduced to you guys. We'll have it out. I'm on board, and then it adds to our workload. And that's pretty much how it goes. A lot of the time, they're great ideas. So I end up backing them, and our coaches are on board, from our showcases to our leagues to our exciting partnership to the Jamboree, which I didn't know was going to be introduced tonight, or today, but I'm on board with it. It's a great idea.
Again, the Jamboree is a concept, but it's one that I introduced to you and said, if you want it to happen, let me know, because I need.
It'll happen. I know already it's going to happen.
Or another way is, would you go? And that's what I want to know. If invited, would you go? And I start saying, okay, we have 20 people from our organization alone already. We're a sixth of the way there. Go ahead.
I'd probably start planning the trip now. Once we get the invitations out. Cost breakdown, Mario already went over. It's the whole summer is $1,500. That includes January, June, July. The price breakdown we have: January 15th, there's a deposit of $500. March 15th, $500. May 15th, $500. We try to spread it out as much as we can. We do work with everyone with payment plans or whatever helps. We understand the economy and finances. For us to run our company the way we're going to run it, this is exactly our budget we have to do with. Today, we have, if you don't have a uniform, the uniform is $200. West Coast, we do it with the West Coast, and the design took a long time to do. West Coast said they're the top uniforms they've ever done. Some of the pictures in the back on the top up there, some of our guys in uniform, but our guys stand out wherever they go. The uniforms are very detailed, and I haven't seen anyone with a better uniform yet.
And the purpose of it isn't to look fancy or look good. The purpose of it is to look recruitable. You guys know, we want you to have a look that the recruiter's going to like what they see when they see. So when we mentioned the uniforms, they're designed a certain way for you to look a certain way with respect to recruitability.
So what we have, the uniform, the total for the uniform is $200. If you don't have a uniform, that's what we need today. So we can get the uniform ordered, get it started. If you already do have a uniform, the amount due today would be $200, and that's just to hold the roster spot. That's just for us to know, okay, he's committed, he's in, he's with us, and then we can not recruit another guy for that team to go forward. So if you don't have a collared shirt, which some of the guys didn't, they came on late in the summer, we also have some available, or we can order those. Those are $45. And if you need any pants or anything extra, we're gonna, right after we're done here, we'll take new players over here and anyone else that needs a collar shirt, hat, or whatever it is. That way we can get it ordered and get started with that.
And we're going to rename the collar shirts as of right now the travel shirt. So you guys are traveling. So as you travel, it is mandatory that you wear it. In the past, it's been a collar shirt. Now it's not a collar shirt; it's a travel shirt. Because when we say collar shirt, some people like they show up in like a suit and a tie, and other people just have some kind of like a mock turtleneck. Like, this isn't a collar. I thought this was a collar. So it's just easy to get your travel shirt, and it's understood what it means.
The total uniform includes the jersey, the pants, the polo shirt, and the hat. So that's all included with the uniform. What else you will need would be a belt, cardinal color belt, and cardinal color stirrups, because all of the pants don't go much below your knees. They're all worn up. That's another purposeful thing that we're doing as far as recruiting, just to make sure they can see everyone's physique in their pants, and they're not baggy pants that you can't tell the guy has chicken legs or has strong quads. So we want to make sure that recruiters understand they can see that.
The other thing you need is a cardinal helmet for hitters, and we're going to give you an emblem that goes on it. Again, it's so you guys look uniformed and look the part and act the part and play the part. The other thing I wanted to point out, our managers, you guys, phenomenal. You have phenomenal groups to work with. And first, Mike Bearcat, and we're investigating this group and figuring out exactly what the right fit is. And Mike played in our organization for a very long time, so he knows exactly what we want with things. He also played for me in high school, and he was my TA in class, so he knows what we want. And I have absolutely no doubt that he's going to do a fantastic job. The only thing for him is someone could say he lacks experience because he's young, and the only way to get experience is by doing it. And throwing him in there and having him get after it. So I'm really excited about him. We want him in the system. If we decided a multi-year contract now, we would. He's going to be very good. And then Mike Bungars and Mike's staff, Mike Bungars, Tom Castro, both of them played Berkovich a couple of years ago, 4 or 5, 10 years ago, and also Marcos Rios. And that staff is second to none, and I like to think that my staff at the Berkovich level is the best in the organization and or Northern California. That one's better. And Mike Bungars was my assistant at the Berkovich level. We had a blast last year. We want him we'll sign a lifetime contract with Bungars right now. And he comes from Tom Castro. Tom's son is Jason Castro, who's a catcher in the major leagues, who just got married, but was a first rounder out of Stanford University. So he becomes a very good resource for parents to talk about. He obviously did some things right in parenting. And then Marcos Rios, who's fiery, who's connected, great baseball player. His dad is Fernando Rios, baseball loyalty in this area and a hitting guru. So the amount of knowledge and experience that Marcos brings to the table, even though he's considerably younger and possibly more handsome than the rest, unbelievable group that you guys get to work with. Questions and answers? Yes?
With the January area now, this is the first time you're doing that, right?
No, we did last year.
You did it. How did the high school coaches respond, you know, with their workouts, because they do.
Right, we may want to edit this, but I'm a high school coach too, and the rule is that nothing can be mandatory until tryouts, because there's no team. Okay, so if somebody is high school minded, they should do absolutely, if their goal is to play high school baseball, and that's their ultimate goal, they should do everything that gears them toward high school. And if their goal is to play college baseball, they should do everything that gears them for college baseball. And I think you can read between the lines and figure out everything that means. And I don't remember, the only one I remember, we had a lefty pitcher who was an early commit, and he traveled to Duke University as a junior on a recruiting trip, and the coach started him off on JV after a recruiting trip to Duke University. And because he missed a tryout, which is valid, and they started out on JV and then moved up like after a week or something like that. Otherwise, there's a lot of fear factor that people put into missing anything, anywhere, whether it's missing with us or missing with them. And we say, we just ask, as you guys miss, it's going to happen, we just ask you to communicate. And ideally ahead of time. Not like, oh, I got a text right now saying somebody's missing the next meeting, but more that you communicate ahead of time. With respect to high school stuff, what we do is either Saturday, Sunday, sometimes high school starts on Saturday during the
Okay, that's like, if they had something in the day.
and we try to do it around their high school stuff out of respect for their desire to do the high school thing. But we also say, be mindful, because our obligation and our job is not to prepare you to be the ultimate being a high school player. So we want to be sensitive to that, but not oversensitive to where it gets in the way of your development. Yes?
How often do you have the kids throw bullpens, or is that something that we're responsible for at home?
In the summer, there's not much practice because you have so many games. So summer baseball is really like your bullpen is in a game. So as a starter, and it's not always the case, depending on your role. If you're a starter and you're going to start every 6 days or once a week or something, then you might throw a bullpen in between starts. But in general, the macro concept, so the bullpen would be the micro concept of development. The macro concept is how can we make you a better pitcher? So it might be the game situation of a player throwing 100% of their fastballs outside, and we wanted him to work inside to prepare as a pitcher. And he gets hit around a little bit. He hits people and walks people, command goes down, and we say, that's fine. He's learning how to do it. And that might require doing the bullpen to get on with arm side fastball for a righty, for example, but then it might mean just going back into the game and doing it again in the summer. In the fall, we bullpen in January we bullpen every week, and we have velocity readings on multiple pitches so that they can kind of track their arm strength, and we do this in the fall too.
So then my second question is, okay, so say the arm is seen or you want to adjust them, how and when do you do that? I mean, do you just let them pull them out of the game? Do you let them finish their innings and then kind of correct them off to the side?
It's over the whole process. Like there's a specific throwing routine that they're supposed to do every day. So every day, as there's a mechanic, like for example, let's say a guy just swings his arm. It's not like, hey, we're gonna work on that at a bullpen where you go like this 100 times and then you're fixed. It's just a daily thing where this is what you need to work on. This is what you need to do on your own. This is what's going to be expected of you when you come here. Daily, and then the test is, can you do it in the game situation?
Okay, so
which
they're
takes time.
giving like a regimen.
Absolutely.
He does his J-band every day. He'll have something along with that.
The structure, and I coached at Stanford a couple of years ago and plagiarized everything from Stanford and brought it here, along with different twists of where we played. And so there's a very systematic way to do pretty much everything, more than they've probably ever done, including their stretch routine, their agility routine, their throwing routine. There's a lot. It's a very structured program for the purpose of development, and also ultimately that they understand the professionalism that goes into when they get to college. Because colleges, it's a system. And they're trying to they're trying to create in college and pro ball a system that works. So that there's new players coming through every year, but their system is an A system. And it's the same with us. Yes? Yes, and we want at least 2 coaches, if not 3, on every team. And right now, as we create the teams, we're not sure of, there could be a couple of the teams, we have projected coaches as number 1s. Then the next job is to get the number 2, and then possibly a number 3. Okay? So we're not sure. Our first job is getting 1s. So then the next job after that will be getting 2s, and we're not there yet. But there will be, we just don't know who yet. And if you have anybody that recommended for you guys, we're like, we really like this coach. We love hearing that. Any other questions? Corporately, and then you can also ask questions individually after. Yeah?
Because the 32 team is so spread out, it might be very difficult for some of the players to get up here early for some additional instruction. Is there any plan, or is there any, I think you talked about some of the plans, but is there any idea yet if there's going to be different venues that might be more centrally located? You know, if kids are getting out of school at 3, I mean, the earliest it might be here is 4:35, which isn't early to practice. You know, 3 is going to be early. How might that be?
Right. With respect to teams where guys are coming from a distance, it's just a different coordination. You know, similarly, some guys might be in close proximity, but they have church on Sundays and youth group on Tuesday nights, so they miss that stuff. So it becomes just a scheduling strategy. In that way, it would probably just be resolved as it goes with the number 1 and or the number 2 of each team. So in your case, it would be Coach Bungars who would figure out exactly what the map that looks like. I mean, specifically, what are you asking specifically?
Well, because of most of the development, you know, there's so many games, not a lot of practice development.
The games are practice.
Well, sure, I understand, but players don't always get the same amount of instruction or the same take from because the pressure if they want to win or they want to get the right pitch. Not being as open to making a change as a one-on-one kind of bullpen or type situation.
Right.
And it might be very difficult to make that happen, especially if games are weekend where most people get games on weeknights.
Right, and that's a good question. And my answer to that, and there's a lot of different strategies that people have for development or exposure, not so many. And a good thing that I ask people sometimes, actually, in our coaches meetings, you guys, it gets heated. And there's a lot of personalities and people who are very passionate about what they do. And when we assume that we know something that someone else might know, and we talk to a lot of parents who might say, you know, how can my son work on hitting off speed if he's supposed to attack fastballs early in the count because he never sees breakers? Well, seriously, there's questions, but we're like, you know what? Like Coach Bungars and Castro, they're really good at what they do. Like let them develop. And you understand hitting to a degree and stuff, so you might have very valid questions intuitively, but baseball and development ends up taking over on a more corporate level and a more global level, where instead of like, what is the, and I understand some people have had experiences which cause them to ask certain questions, so that's probably a different conversation of exactly how is my son going to become a better bunter, because he never worked on bunting ever with his prior organization. Really, it's a corporate thing where we say, I know he has to be a good bunter, and we really value that, and it's going to happen, and I can kind of explain why later. But in general, what we ask from you guys is, number 1, that you trust is going to happen as you come to our system, because we know it's going to happen. It's our job that we take it really seriously to do. Number 2, if you see it not happening, definitely for you guys, the way to go would be through your number 1, through your manager, and then if that doesn't resolve itself, then to us. And then we would make sure that it does happen. So the best thing I can tell you right now, globally, is it will happen. And then specifically, we can talk about it after. Any other questions? Yeah?
How's the traveling handled? Like, you can't be there for all the traveling stuff, and I mean, how do those arrangements happen, especially if you're going kind of far away?
Like if the team was going to.
Yeah, like if the team is traveling down to Southern California, and like I can only go down there Monday, Tuesday, but I can't be there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Communication away. And that's going to happen. And part of having roster, we have to have rosters to accommodate that. And in these groups, somebody's going to miss because of showcasing every year. Somebody has summer school, somebody has a family trip, which ideally wouldn't happen until August, but sometimes it's inevitable. And you know, somebody's school's in the championship, or they have summer football. So there's all kinds of things. And we're not trying to penalize anybody for missing, but we just ask that they communicate. And if they don't communicate, then it becomes a different issue. So the communication is highly important. So for example, the pitcher wasn't going to be there until Tuesday or Wednesday. Then we try to create a rotation where they pitch at that time and pitch other guys, you know, while they're not there.
Can they go with, I mean, I guess my question is, can they go with the team by themselves, or do you have to accompany them on all the trips?
It's encouraged that you guys, I shouldn't say encouraged, go watch my language. It becomes pretty important based on the input from parents over the last couple of years that that players learn how to travel on their own, be highly responsible, traveling either with other families or friends or players or coaches, because there just gets to be too much for the family. So some parents say, well, I don't want my child to go here because the family of 8 of us can't go with them. And it's flying because we just went to Arizona, or we just went to LA, and there's recruiters that want to see them again in Arizona, or something like that. And it's like, well, we can't go as a family. And in my mind, I'm like, understandable, but we're not asking for the family to go. Our job is not for the family to go and have a family vacation there. Our job is to say the player needs to be there. And then for the family to figure it out. Maybe it's alone, maybe it's just one parent, or maybe they drive down instead of fly, I don't know. But if it can't happen, it can't happen. Family comes first. But our job is to communicate to you that this is what needs to happen. And we don't feel bad. I mean, we don't blame you if it doesn't happen, but our job is to let you know this is what needs to happen and be a little insensitive to you on the front side instead of saying, oh, I don't want to tell you because I don't want to burden you with an opportunity. That would be doing a bad job on our part, so we need to.
Well, I mean, like, I don't want to go. I just want him to go with your team and go down there and play.
Oh, yeah. And to that point, okay, if we're talking like that, if we can speak freely like that, the ideal is for the parents to send the kid. The money adds up. You're gonna, at some point, you're going to add up the money and be like, shit, what's the return for all this? Because he's been in front of schools, but he doesn't have a scholarship yet. So ideally, that would start adding up later. And as people travel with a family and do all this stuff, they're like, well, this costs $4,000 to go to LA for 5 days. And it's like, well, somebody else did it for $700. So you paid $4,000, but you didn't have to, because that other money is going to be spent doing other showcases and canceled later on. So to that point, if you're comfortable sending your kid with someone, get rid of them.
And I guess that was my real underlying question.
Yeah.
Do I have to go with them?
Yeah, and I think it's great for kids to learn how to travel and do that stuff too. Any other questions? I think we're out of time, but if you have questions, come and ask us, and thank you guys very much.